Good evening, fellow heretics. Welcome to tonight's show. I'm your host, Captain Dadpool, and you are watching Nerds and Heresy.
Hold on to your butts.
All right, let's get this farty started. I posted a link in the StreamYard for all one person of you who's watching. Anybody wants to join in, there's the link. Otherwise, I don't know what we're going to talk about. Hey, Ree. Don't you want to join the farty? Excuse me. Some people are going to start trickling in, but they're late because that's the quality of friends I keep. Nat's in the shower. She'll be here soon.
There's a Pat.
Hey, Pat. Yeah, I posted a link in the comments. I'd love it if you jumped in. Anyone for that matter. Because I have not scheduled anything to talk about. I figured we'd just let whoever in here who wants to come in here.
We can talk about cat.
We'll see what happens. We can talk about cats. I got one right here. It's a fine specimen. He is going up to the highest bidder because he's annoying. He will not leave me alone. So yeah, start the bidding at 2 pieces of catnip. He says he's worth more than that. You stop. Meow. Ow, ow, that's my neck skin. All right, go somewhere. Almost spilled my beer. Oh, awesome. It's like Pat's going to be jumping in. That's exciting. What happened to Crimson Barrel? He stopped doing TikTok quite a while ago. He got... he moved, and then now he's moving again. And he got really into his D&D stuff. So he dropped out of TikTok a while ago. Hey, Ree.
Hi. Hello.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How about you?
How I'm doing? I'm quite tired. I was this close to canceling the stream.
Yeah, I feel that. I wouldn't blame you, honestly.
I was right there. I was like, no, I already announced it and everything. I gotta stick with it now.
At least it's open. Anybody can pop in, so.
Yeah. There's Courageous.
Ayo.
Hi, Korea.
Hi.
Oh, Pat, alcohol is always a part of Nerds and Heresy. We should just call it Alcohol and Heresy. Or
Alcohol and heresy.
It hasn't been quite as nerdy lately.
Yeah, so maybe it's time for a rebranding. You know?
Pat might join us. That would be amazing.
Yeah, come on, Pat.
Nat's gonna be here too soon, so it'd be fun to
Pat and Nat together.
Yeah.
Nat.
Oh yeah. Pat and Nat. They should start their own show together.
That would be such an interesting
Pat
show,
and
Pat and Nat.
Natty Pat. Patty Nat.
Patty Nat.
I hate it. I hate it. Patty Nat.
That's got
and Nat
potential.
and Pat.
That's got
I hate
potential. We're making shit
Pat
happen
and
already.
Nat? Yes. Or Nat
Yeah.
and Pat. Okay.
Oh gosh. That's great.
Patty Nat and Heresy.
5 minutes. 5 minutes till awesomeness. Okay.
5 minutes.
Pat, I haven't spoken with Pat in so long because he's been in the UK doing amazing things, and I want to hear all about them.
Every time I see a post from him, like on Twitter or anything, I'm increasingly more aware of how much I missed my calling as an archaeologist. Like, goddamn, that looks so fucking cool. Like, I will be anyone's bitch for however long it takes to have
Pat,
that
did you
job.
get fired?
I will do all of the.
Because I got fired.
Oh no! Did you get fired from your? Oh, all right.
Nope.
I don't think we're gonna get into that.
Nope. It's okay. You don't have to talk about it.
YouTube drama. You know how it be.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time he posts, what is it? He made a I can't remember if it was a TikTok or a YouTube video. He was in God, I forget what it was. It was just a big fucking cylinder in the ground. And he was like, yeah, a bunch of
the field class he's teaching.
Yeah, he was like, there's a bunch of really old people lived here and they did some cool shit. And
they did some cool shit.
I was just like drool, like take me there.
Opening and you'll see his TikToks and it'll be like opening up a beer at the most amazing sight I've ever seen, and you're just like, oh my goodness, I just
the closest thing I've ever done to that is
I not built to handle archaeology is the thing, because I could go in, I could go into it anytime, but I'm, fat and 5'2" and have no muscle whatsoever. So.
I did a backflip in a castle in Macedonia, like a 1,600-year-old castle. Or no, I think it was like 3,500 years old or something. So that's the closest I've ever been to being an archaeologist. I found a condom in there, and I was like, someone got laid in a fucking castle. I want to get laid in a castle. God damn, that sounds amazing.
Bring that up with Rachel. That's not our department.
We don't have any castles here, America.
I mean, Disney castle doesn't count.
Yeah, there really is, like, since America is only 200, 300 some years old. When you go to another country, there is like this sense of like antiquity that you get when you're there that you don't feel here, and it's really cool.
100%.
Because we have history, it's just they destroyed it. They stole the land from indigenous people, and
well, it's not just that. It's like we don't have any like historical.
In Canada. That
I didn't know Canada had castles. Who built the castles in Canada? Was it the French? French people love castles.
Have you ever seen Eddie Izzard's stand-up Dress to Kill?
I've seen a couple of his stand-ups. I don't know if I saw that one.
Oh, that's my probably my favorite stand-up of all time. And in it, they talk about how they were like, he says, I'm from Europe, where the history comes from. And he was like, but you in America, you tear your history down, man. I was watching something on the TV and it was like, we've restored this to how it was 50 years ago. And everyone was like gawking, being like, no one was even alive back then.
Oh my God.
Yeah, nowadays it's like, what? Our history? We're not talking about that. No. That's critical race theory. We're not teaching that.
We don't do that here.
We don't want to know. We don't want to teach kids what we actually did to get here.
Kristen.
Hey, there she is. I think Kristen.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Is another thing.
Oh, let's see. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I forgot I have a little door on my
privacy.
Camera, so, yeah.
You haven't been on a show yet, have you? Or at least not one of mine.
I don't think I have. No, I have not.
Tell the lovely people who you are.
Yes, who are you?
I'm Kristen. I live in South Carolina. Woohoo, very fun state. Lindsey Graham. Love him.
Oh, yeah.
Right. No, I mean, I'm what people would call fake Christian. So I was not raised religious. I ended up in the church when I moved to South Carolina back in the day, and I got dragged into the fanfare and whatnot. And what made me an atheist was reading the Bible. I started reading it, and all of a sudden was like, this doesn't line up with what I've been told. This isn't open your book to XYZ verse. We're reading the other verses. But yeah, so that's me. I got out of religion by actually looking into religion.
That'll do it. You're like right in the.
I got out of religion by looking into religion.
I got trapped into it first and then had to be brought back out, I guess.
It took me entirely too long. I got a whole ass degree in the Bible before I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense.
But you have the degree, which means
that's how much it took.
Employers, all they care about is that, unless it's a very specific
not
thing.
my brightest moment.
Or no, if I could go back, I would have majored in something completely different.
Yeah.
Like archaeology.
No, I probably would have gone into psychology, and I would have gone straight to like get my master's or my PhD. But that would take me like way too long to do now. Or I would have gone into computer science because I've always had a really big interest in technology, especially the design and like user. So like there's certain degrees that I didn't even know existed back when I was 18. Called human system engineering, and it's all about how people psychologically interact with the technology around them and what creates the most beneficial experience. And I probably would have gotten a degree in that and then gone to grad school and had like a big cushy tech job, but instead I got an amazing job in insurance in San Francisco. So it all works out.
It all works out. There he is. Speaking of archaeology.
Pat!
I wasn't calling you old, Pat. That was just your profession.
I'm old.
How's there 4 people watching? There's 5. There's 3 on screen. There's 3 people watching and 5 on screen, apparently. So I'm confused.
Well, that's awesome.
What's going on here?
It's because
Did you promote it on TikTok?
I don't think it
What's that?
was on screen.
Did you promote it on TikTok?
He did.
Kinda.
Okay, because
I did like a broad promotion. I was like, here's my Patreon, my Twitter, my this, my that. Here's all the places you can find me. But I didn't do like one specific for this. I did post it on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, though. But anyway, more people's gonna trickle in. That's gonna be here.
Makes it
your amazing experiences.
So I spent 7 weeks in the UK, 4 on an archaeological excavation in the town of Irchester, former Roman town of Irchester. We're excavating an extra urban space, a graveyard actually, and a few attached buildings that were adjacent to the graveyard. And then I took 3 weeks to do a surface survey of some Neolithic and early Bronze Age and early Iron Age sites that I needed to survey. So I spent all just doing archaeology for 7 weeks. It's pretty fun.
Sounds so fucking cool. Like every bit of that sounds really fucking cool to me. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it was really cool, except for the day that I was in the Orkneys, and it was so windy it rained sideways.
Oh my gosh!
Pelting rain where you couldn't get out of your car. Because if you got out of your car, the inside of your car would be filled with water. I mean, I'm not exaggerating either, because we did it a couple times and we had to stick towels in the rental car when we were done to sop them up. Yeah, well, let's just put it this way: Eurocar. It was dry when I gave it back to him. I'm probably responsible for fairly moldy interior on a Eurocar rental, but that's they signed me off as no damage. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I had a car flood in St. Louis, and it was dry by the time I gave it back to them, and I just kind of said the same thing. I was like, as long as nobody calls me, I'm not calling anyone.
So I learned a trick a long time ago in my former job. You buy fabric softener sheets, and you stick them under seat cushions.
That's smart.
And it makes it smell minty, wintry, fresh, whatever you like.
I hope I won't have a second do-over of this situation, but for future, if I do, I now know.
You've actually got a course coming up that you're teaching, right, Pat?
Yeah, I'm actually teaching one right now it's through Peninsula College called Myth, Ritual, and Worship in Ancient Greece. And what it is, it's a kind of an introductory course. It's continuing education, so it's only credit for if you're taking it for continuing education credits, or you just want to take the course. It's not a standard college credit course, because I don't try to teach those during the summer because I don't have my summer free. So it's only 6 sessions. But like I have a couple teachers in the class, so they're doing it for continuing ed credit. Nice. So it's a pretty small class. They've only got like 9 students. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'll be teaching in the fall, and then the spring I'm gonna actually teach more back more in person. at the college, but they're doing a hybrid thing where I'll be both. It's kind of weird. I'm got a little anxiety over it. I'll be live on video while I'm also live with a course class. So I'll have to be able to like go. Yeah, it's that hybrid.
Yeah, a lot of my professors had to do that.
Yeah, I've been either doing online only or in person only, and now they're like, yeah, you're gonna do this. So I'm gonna be teaching a couple anthro classes it's really winter, but the winter quarter. So that are hybrid. They'll be my first real forte into that. I've done it once before, and I crash and burn like the first 3 lectures pretty bad. It was like we'd have technical difficulties, and like all of a sudden the course would drop off. Yeah. Hopefully they got that worked out now. So yeah, archaeology is totally fucking awesome, and I love it. Spent so between this year and last year, I think the excavation recovered 97 total bodies. So, or sets of human remains that were complete. And then there were about a dozen and a half what we call incomplete remains, which means we found part of a person, but not enough to call it a complete set. And so we'll probably find those next year as we go back, because, you know, graves settle out at different rates, and archaeology is about, you know, methodologically going down at the same level. And sometimes what happens is you get depressions, like, you know, the soil just shift. So you'll get the body, the legs and the pelvis here. And then, you know, next season we'll come back and maybe we'll match some of those up based on where everything's at. And some of it was purposely, like, I was excavating a house wall. It's all left is one corner of this house, probably from the 6th century CE, where we found skulls embedded in the wall. And it was probably Saxons had moved into this area after the Romans had left. So these are a transitional period. So they rebuilt these houses, and in order to keep the spirits from the graveyard away, they stuck human skulls inside the walls of the homes. It was kind of something that wasn't that uncommon in the ancient world. And particularly
as you do.
Yeah, as you do. Yeah. So, you know, but when you come across one in a wall, you have to be very careful excavating out a human skull, because you don't want to damage the wall, but you want to preserve the skull as much as you can in situ if possible. And if not, you need to remove it for analysis. So, and this part of the excavation was going to be backfilled, so we had to remove it.
It's got to really take you off guard, like the first time you see that, just walking a normal brick wall, all of a sudden, boom, skull there. Well, yeah, and they're like, oh no, that's totally normal here. We do that.
Well, you read about it before you do it, which is kind of fun. So, you know, you act really cool the first time you do it. You're like, no big deal. But you're like, wow, that's really cool.
I've read about these. Interesting.
Well, I, you know, in my other job, I saw bodies all the time, so it wasn't a big deal.
Hey, Jimmy.
These have no flesh on them, which makes it easier. They don't smell bad. They smell pretty good.
Jimmy, I was wondering where you were.
Yeah. So, for anybody that's interested, I do have TikTok, and I made a bunch of videos.
Yeah, you did, and you tagged me in all of them, and I appreciate it so much.
I've seen them.
I was so happy.
Well,
hey, look who it
like
is.
That's
complete with avatar and everything.
Wow.
Yeah. What's up, Captain Dapool?
Not much, man. I haven't gotten to meet you yet. It's nice to meet you.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, it's great to meet you.
Thanks for jumping in, huh?
Mm-hmm.
My wife's like, it moves. Yeah.
Oh, it does so much more.
It does so much
It does so much more.
I really want one.
It was very monotonous.
It was making me want to ask what more can it do, but at the same time, I'm terrified to ask that question.
I was going to ask the exact same.
Yeah, it can do a tuber.
Hi, Kristen. I haven't seen you in a while.
You're muted.
Yes.
What is this Technicolor giraffe nonsense?
Oh my God, was that a unicorn?
That was
there is obviously powers beyond
Lisa.
my understanding.
Lisa the rainbow giraffe is on loan. Maybe. I don't know.
Lisa the rainbow giraffe.
If you guys watch The Skeptic, you know what that's from. You should. But I'm not here to just plug channels. So.
He's so cool. I love him.
John
I
is
haven't
awesome.
seen too much of his show. There's so many fucking shows out there I need to catch up on. Yeah. I feel like I was thrust into this community so fast, and I'm like, there's all these channels I need to check out and familiarize myself with.
I know a list of like seven or more hours of podcasts that I need to catch up on just from last week, and that's not including the ones I put off the week before that I didn't get to watch. Never.
Yeah.
The thing is, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, so it's like I'm like I want to keep listening to my audiobook, but I need to catch up on these podcasts. Yeah, so I know,
I'm just happy I work in a lab setting where I can tune out while I'm doing experiments. I can just listen to like 8 hours of if it's the right kind of day, I can listen to a podcast like all day while I'm working, which is fun. if I have enough tests to run. But yeah.
Yeah, I do web development, so I just listen to all you goofballs all day long.
Oh shit. So Pat, when did you get back? I mean, I know you got back like
A couple weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago.
And
Okay,
then
I wasn't sure exactly what date.
And then I had to go out and do a survey in Eastern Washington, which I hated because it was our coolest day was 96. I was pissed.
96. Ooh.
Yeah.
I've been complaining about the heat out here.
And my crew was upset when I said, "Okay, we're meeting at 4:00 in the morning," because we have to.
Yeah. No, Archeo Wolf and I were we were both just like we were watching your videos and just steamed. We were just like we could have been there.
Where's that?
So sad.
Hey, there we go.
Is that the Catacombs of France? It looks like the Catacombs.
I don't know.
Of France.
It was the first thing It's in the Czech Republic.
That looks a lot like the Catacombs of France. I'm
go.
feeling that vibe.
Could be Rome. Could be. He says
It could
Maybe I
be
should
Rome.
do a video
It could
from
be
this
Rome.
thing.
Yeah, but look at the arches. It's totally France. I'm feeling France.
Rome had arches.
I'm still feeling.
I don't know if they
France
made a
vibe.
lot of skulls.
There isn't a single arch in all of Rome. Not
No arches in Rome. Never. No, I'm very wrong.
There's this thing that's made out
Where
of
do you
nothing
think the
but
French came up
arches.
with
It's
the
called
idea of having the catacombs?
Oh, good point.
Dan.
I mean, there's got to be some influence in there. There's a lot of Roman influence in there. Like, I'm clarifying. There's a lot.
A lot of Roman influence in a lot of things. Before that, it was a lot of Greek influence. There's a lot of Greek influence in Rome. Anyway.
That's what they say in the books.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but that's what they tell me.
Well, there's a whole there's a TikTok creator. I think her name is Millennial Mom or something like that, or I don't remember her name. And
Yeah.
she's a Rome denier. I agree. She's not all there.
Oh, her.
Well, I don't
I
remember.
haven't heard from her in a long time.
Crazy, but
Happily.
she has all these crazy conspiracy theories that it just aren't. Because I don't know enough about her personally to say anything about her mental health, but the conspiracy theories that she will list is like, where do you get where? No, you can't connect those. What?
Yeah, she's still around. I haven't heard from her or heard about her in a while. Is she still like around?
Yeah, I responded to one video of hers, and that was it.
I didn't even respond to her. I got some lovely coins that Pat sent me, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at these lovely Roman coins, and she attacked me.
Well, I will tell you that I have way more better coins now. That's all I'm going to say.
I know you do. I know.
I
want to see them.
Yeah. My students.
Do you have a Domitian coin?
Yeah, I have I have several.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the stuff that I got this year is older than I was for a long time. I was only able to, and basically you have to go through services. So I made contacts in the UK that were able to, allow a certain amount of export for research and diagnostic purposes. But I've always been kind of limited to getting stuff from the beginning of the 4th century forward. So it's like, I got all this stuff from Constantine forward, right? So this has been the first year that I've ever gotten to a pretty significant number of coins that are pre-Constantinian. And it's probably, I'm hoping that I get some from, some of the less known emperors from the third century crisis, right? The guys that were only in power for 18 months. And these are pretty Some of them are in pretty rough shape, but I don't care as long as they have what I need on them to go, look, I have one of this guy.
If they have those profiles, or if they have the their inscriptions or mottos or family names, that's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, I just care about the legends at this point.
And Nero had a coin that depicted him like giving like money to charity, I think it was, or giving food to charity or something.
Well, Nero was a great guy. Just ask Nero. I mean, Nero's been villainized, right? But Nero, you know, you got to kind of look at the history outside
he
the
lit people on
polemics.
fire to illuminate his gardens. That's pretty dark.
If that actually happened.
Right.
I mean,
that's a fair point.
You know, none of the accounts of Nero were contemporaneous with Nero.
That's true.
I mean, we're all skeptics, right? Most of us deconstruct from religion. Most of us don't believe the stories about Jesus in the Gospels, right? Well, you know, Nero had been villainized pretty heavily after his death. Interestingly enough, but you know, he had supporters during life that wrote some pretty, or at least were alluded to have written some pretty flattering. Now they could have been politically motivated as well. So I mean, was Nero as bad as he's later portrayed? I don't know. The British Museum last year had a really interesting exhibit on Nero, and they kind of went through this is the worst case Nero, this is the best case Nero, and I'm kind of figuring it's probably somewhere between those two. I mean,
that tends to be the logic behind most of the stories that you get and the histories you get, is you have to read between the lines, because every person's going to write history in a biased way.
I apologize for my cat.
Is unbiased.
No need.
You apologize for, is that your cat?
Yeah, that's my cat. She wants me to play with her.
Come
on, Rosie.
It's a very, very needy cat.
That's one question I always had about that story about Nero is like, he was supposedly Christians that he lit on fire to provide light for his gardens, but Christians weren't really persecuted like that at that time. They were never really persecuted like that at that time.
No, and we do know Jews were expelled prior to Nero and after, and the later conflation with Jews and Christians, particularly around 60s to 90s CE, becomes really problematic. So were these Messianic Jews that are believed to be Christians later? Because one thing Christians did, again, you know this, speaking of the choir, that they later took, you know, whenever they could get some glamour, they grabbed it. And any Messianic movement that had any popularity, they're like, oh yeah, well, we were part of that too. You know, it's not until they're officially thrown out of the synagogues, right, that they get that big separation from Judaism. And that's because too many pagans have come in and they've watered down the Judaism to the point where Jews are just pissed. They're like, you're done. We're done with you and your half-hearted measures, you know. And so that's kind of where it goes.
Yeah, and then Christians who like feed on that narrative that Nero did burn the first Christians or whatever in Rome, they're automatically assuming that they recognize and believe the same way that those first Christians did, which I guarantee you is false, right? It's like no Christian living now in America has any semblance of faith or belief structure that was like the supposedly burned Christians of the first century. Not a chance.
Yeah, they were entirely the brand of Christianity that existed back then in the first century is virtually unrecognizable from what Christians are today.
I would definitely agree. Like, people do not understand. First of all, Jewish Christians versus pagan converts to Christianity. Jewish converts were largely messianic, looking to, particularly in Palestine, differentiate themselves from Rome and separate themselves from Rome if possible. You know, people forget that during the first Jewish war, Christians fought with Jews. Like, you couldn't distinguish Jews and Christians because they were the same ethnic group, just with slight religious and theological differences on who the Messiah was. And calling yourself a Christian in 60 and 65 CE was very different than calling you a Christian later, because you didn't have to attest to Christ's divinity. That's a later Christian development. You could have been a Messianic Jew who just believes Jesus was the Messiah, and that was good enough, right? Like, you didn't have to, you didn't have to get all caught up.
He was adopted to to the
Right.
title of Son of God.
Correct. Right. And
Yeah.
and that had been good long enough in Judaism for, a millennia. Just calling yourself a son of, an adopted, particularly prophetic, right? Son of God, son of man.
Yeah, like originally they believed that Jesus was a messianic figure, but there are others. Samuel was called a Messiah. Solomon was called the Messiah, which just means anointed one. So they believed that Jesus was another Messiah, not necessarily someone to be worshipped, but then later that became the development.
And I do think Christians miss this, but I've heard you talk about it before. Paul considered himself a Messiah until he got rebuffed.
Yes.
Paul talks about the suffering of Christ being insufficient and that his suffering is equal to that of Jesus.
Yep.
Right? Like,
Yes.
People forget
He
that.
victimizes himself so much.
Right. So he's saying, yeah, Jesus suffered, but I suffered more than Jesus. Or
Well,
I'm
it's really-
suffering as much as Jesus. He's comparing, he's eating a big piece of humble pie and then wiping your face in it. Because he's like, oh, I'm really humble, but Jesus suffered, but I suffered too.
Yeah.
And I think
sorry, go ahead, Pat.
I was just gonna say, I think that people forget the narrative. It's like they don't read the books as individuals. They go, well, we're just gonna synchronize them all, and we're gonna, make a narrative that is non-problematic, and so they harmonize them to the point where it's like you realize that like book 1 and book 4. This would be like, I always go, this would be like the Star Wars analogy. Well, in New Hope, Luke killed Darth Vader. And you go, well, then we can't have book 1. But it's like this is the kind of thing they go, well, but so what are you saying? Book 1 came after book 4? Yes, because if you watch the movies in the order they were released, we know what happens.
It's almost like trying to harmonize Star Wars and Star Trek, really.
Yeah, that's even better. Yeah,
That's a really good analogy. No,
Kirk was a Jedi.
Yeah.
One of my favorite TikToks is, and Christians were so mad at her for making it.
Hey.
Is from Christy
Sorry.
Burke.
Dr. Josh.
So
Reply to my email, Dr. Josh. Unless
And
that's not even working account.
Christy Burke did a TikTok about how if you scrutinize the words of Jesus and then you start looking at Paul, specifically where Jesus warns about false prophets that are going to be speaking and doing things in his name, and you compare what they say side by side, Paul stops looking like an apostle and he starts looking like a false prophet, because there's many things that he says that directly contradicts what the commands that Jesus gave. And yeah, it's so good.
Well, and also there's a scholarly debate about the Great Commission, whether or not that's actually in the original accounts or not, if it was added later. Because earlier on, Jesus says, do not take the word outside of Palestine. This is for the Jews only. Don't give it to the Samaritans. Don't give it to the Gentiles. And then at the last what is it, 10 or 15 sentences, Dadpool, he goes, oh no, wait, I forgot. I've come back. And I'm God now, and you see my boo-boos, so I'm really God, and go and do everything I told you to do. So the Great Commission is kind of like,
the last,
it depends.
the last 14 sentences, I think, in Mark.
He was also like, because he called I believe it was a Canaanite woman that he called a racial slur, meaning little bitch or little dog, and he refused to help her. Like the disciples had to beg him to actually help her because he didn't want to.
Yeah, that's the story of the Canaanite woman in Mark 7 and Matthew 15.
Yeah,
that actually sets up an interesting contradiction between Mark and Matthew and then John, because Mark and Matthew really seem to be going with the whole Jesus is only here for Jews angle, but then in John you have Jesus is here for everybody except those goddamn Jews.
Those stubborn bastards.
that is the most anti-Semitic gospel out of all of them.
Now John's definitely the most offensive, because at least in the other gospels there is a distinction made between just garden variety Jews and Jewish authorities. But in John, it's literally just the Jews this, the Jews that.
Yeah. I would say Luke might be equally as anti-Semitic because Luke doesn't just
Luke was always my favorite. Damn it.
Well, Luke doesn't just go out of its way to like dog on the Jews. He goes out of his way to like defend the Romans, to make the Romans look bad, because the gospel's written to a Roman audience. So like he leaves out Jesus scourging, like he leaves that part out. And
Pilate's a good guy.
Yeah, Pilate's a good guy. Pilate goes 3 times. Like, are you sure, you guys? You sure you want me to?
Well, it's
to Cruz. Are you sure he's like he doesn't do anything wrong? Like, really? But it's the Jews. The Jews wanted him crucified, so Pilate was like,
it is the gospel of Luke. Isn't it Luke's gospel that's the later foundation for the non-canonical acts of Pilate, where he becomes? I mean, you forget in the Coptic Church, Pilate's a saint because of how he's portrayed in Luke. And then he's a secret convert after he leaves being governor, right? I mean,
right.
He's got
a secret convert.
He's got a whole fan fiction. It's awesome.
Yeah. In spite of the whole, Josephus account of him basically botting the shit out of a fucking mob.
No, yeah. When he has them all dressed up as his soldiers, like, go away. And they're like, no. He's like, all right, I tried to warn you. Close the doors, beat him.
You have been warned.
When Christians, like, when they try to say, like, why would Pilate give Jesus over to the Jews? And it's like, oh, he was afraid of a riot. Like, bitch, no, the fuck he was not. Pilate was not afraid of a riot. Pilate could handle a riot.
I do see a book down here that says from Cowboy 1000 that says, what are some good books to read on the resurrection?
In regards to what? Like,
I'd say
the empty tomb type concept, the history, or the lack of evidence of having a tomb versus having large mass graves.
Bart Ehrman's Jesus Before the Gospels is a really good one. And how Jesus became God, also by Bart Ehrman.
Jacobs has some good books too. He's one of Art. He's a colleague of Ehrman's, former grad student or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, Bart Ehrman's blog.
And that's where you'd start. But if you really want to get crazy with it, you start looking at there's a lot of people that write about it. I mean, we always give Bart Ehrman his due because he writes the popular version, but there's a lot of academic, where Ehrman's pulling a lot of his stuff from. It's a pretty robust field of scholarship.
But yeah, Ehrman's definitely not saying anything new. Like he's almost said nothing new. But he frames it in a way that's much easier for the common person to understand and follow.
His voice, his writing style and his voice is just very easy to flow with. Like, for those that aren't, used to reading academic papers. Yeah, I know. I'm like,
Well, I'm going to say, and he's a wee bit snarky, which I like. He talks just enough shit.
Attitude.
He does.
Like I said, he's got a nice voice that like makes it fun. It's like listening to Archaeowolf. It is. When you read Bart Ehrman, it's like listening to Archaeowolf.
I love listening.
Morgan's got a good voice.
Yeah, I would actually love to see.
Morgan's got a voice.
Yeah, I'd love to see Morgan and Bart in Alive.
Morgan and Bart.
That would be fun.
Morgan wouldn't want to. Morgan wouldn't really have anything to say to him.
Yeah,
they study two totally different subjects.
Sorry about that.
I want when Morgan retires from archaeology for him to like as a side gig to narrate audiobooks, because that would just.
Let me go on.
I've told him as much, but he's so busy with all of his projects.
That's why I say when he's retired.
2 things.
Oh, when he retires? Oh God, I don't think he's
from
ever going to retire.
Morgan's
going to work till the day he dies. That's
I'm
just
sorry,
the way
Pat,
he
what
is,
were
though.
you?
And number 2 is, I was going to say, Bart Ehrman is to Christian apologetics what Penn and Teller are to magicians.
Yeah, that's true.
Former magician, knows all the tricks, kind of reveals them and says, "Boo."
Yeah, that is an apt analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just started reading my first James D. Tabor book, and he's really fucking good.
Oh,
James Tabor, The Jesus Dynasty is what I'm currently reading. It's all about Paul and how Paul helped create Christianity, basically.
Pat, did you know that we're in the same time zone now?
Yeah, you're in San Francisco, right? San Fran?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Wait,
Yeah.
I don't know. How'd you end up out in San Francisco?
Have you started the job yet?
Yeah, so this past week was my first week, except for they didn't have my work computer yet. So I got paid for a week for not really doing anything, and now I have a bunch of homework over the weekend to try to catch up. but yeah, so
the weekend's almost over, dear.
I know, right?
For those of us further east, maybe, but not for those of us further west.
Yes.
Yeah, I got 2 hours left.
So I have I've been working in insurance as a sales agent for about six and a half years now, and I really wanted to go into underwriting for about 3 years, and specifically commercial underwriting, because there's so many different departments within commercial underwriting, like technology. I have a huge interest in technology, as I was talking about a little bit earlier. There's like a nonprofit sector, and then there's also an entertainment sector. And my degree was initially in media, and I got a graduate certificate in screenwriting that I've never used. So like I have a big interest in that industry as well. And so I think it would be really cool to be able to like learn all of the basics for commercial underwriting. And I've wanted this job for 3 years, and I got hired by one of the oldest insurance companies in the country. They actually insured the only house that Abraham Lincoln ever owned. And they like insured the construction of the San Francisco Bridge. They like at September 11th, they paid out like $870 million to different Americans to like help them through it. So I never imagined, if I did get my foot in the door, that it would be with a job of this caliber. And but they offered me the job on July 12th, and my first day was August 1st. So I had to throw all of my stuff together in like 3 weeks and move across.
I told you it'd work out.
Wow.
I told you it would. I was just gonna this is a year of change. I can feel it. Like, yeah, all the things have been happening. And when you were like, hey, we need to hang out, we need to do this, we need to do that, I'm just like, dude, I got stuff going on, but I can see stuff coming from me, like heading towards you too. So it's just yeah, to ride the wave, man.
The only downside is that one of my dogs didn't make it through the drive. She had some health issues, and it was just like too much stress on her body. And so literally the next morning after I got here, I had to race her to the vet, and she had to be put down. But that's very sad. But at the same time, I have a lot of really good things going on too.
Way to bring the mood down. Damn.
I'm sorry, it's not me, it's my life.
I mean, I was about to say, great for you.
Literally, like the first.
Does Josh have the COVID right now? Is that why
can't.
we're making fun of him?
Who has COVID?
Yes. Oh no, how awful.
Dr. Bowen.
Yeah,
I don't know the history of San Francisco Bridge.
Wait, does Kent Hovind have COVID?
Ayo.
Oh,
Let's
if
see it, Christians.
Kent Hovind with COVID crashed this, that would be incredible.
I'd invite him into the stream, but I don't know how contagious he is. I don't want us all to catch
Right?
it.
Yeah. We don't want viruses on our computer. Okay.
That's true. Chances.
I can legit
More guests here on my show.
As far as the Golden Gate Bridge, I don't actually remember the history about the insurance.
Hey, Morgan's here.
There he is.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi.
Morgan! Right.
Everyone's excited.
Sorry
I'm
to the
really glad
audience
I didn't
that's already
cancel
heard
this
it, but Pat, you're going to need to explain the amazing stuff you've been doing again. So,
Oh
He
yeah,
will.
I missed that.
I've been
most of
paying
that, too.
attention.
Oh.
Hey, Titan.
Oh.
I've been
So
watching.
he heard us bragging about him and telling each other that he needs to read, audiobooks.
I'll be right back.
You're good, Timothy.
Yeah, I think
Read
it's
audiobooks.
yeah. Do
Well,
a
Your
voice
voice.
actor.
You need to be the one that reads audiobooks and records them.
I don't know if
No,
you
I was saying
Yeah.
once you retire from archaeology so that you'll have more time.
I
Then
told you he's not going to retire. He's just going to work till he's dead.
Who are you talking about?
You.
Oh,
I was saying that once you retired, that like as a side gig, that you would be an amazing narrator for audiobooks.
You know, I would do that now because I don't work during the wintertime.
That's true.
Hey, there you go.
Do it.
You could, yeah, I was going to say, you could come down here and use James's studio.
I might actually have a
which
voice.
is like just like some random
coming up here
equipment.
soon.
You know he's gonna get stuck
That's
reading
cool.
porn books, right? It's gonna be porn.
How did you get into that?
Who, Dadpool or me?
Porn?
Dadpool.
Oh, the voice acting thing. No,
Yeah.
I was invited onto someone's YouTube show, and I had no idea who it was. I just usually say yes whenever I'm invited on their show, because I like going on other people's shows. It's like my favorite thing to do.
Cool.
It turns out this guy is like a pretty big time Australian filmmaker.
Really?
No idea. So he's like, yeah. So I'm writing a new script for a new show, and it's like supernatural kind of. And he was like, for my podcast, I'm gonna do like one episode for each new character in the show. He's like, so for one character, I wanted to see if you would come on and voice act lines for that character
jealous.
and they're talking about their backstory. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Sure.
That would be cool.
To be fair,
I've always wanted to do cartoons, and this is the closest I can get.
Well, so you are.
Yeah, I am a
Well,
cartoon.
at some point,
That's in part why.
At some point, I'm supposed to be part of a D&D campaign that gets hopefully animated. We are working our way towards character development right now. That is
You know who'd be an awesome character?
Say what?
You know who'd be an awesome character?
Who?
Abakir.
Abukir would be a great character. Unfortunately, I have like zero control in this particular campaign. I was invited because they knew that I could switch voices very quickly, and they wanted me to play a frivolous fairy type person, and I was like, okay. So we've created a character that is, I gotta remember, the type of fairy that changes with the seasons. And so she's not a fairy, elf that changes with the seasons. So she changes voices pretty quick. And I am very invested in her. Her wintertime person is like basically Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm very excited.
Oh my.
Oh dearie, yeah.
We just finished our year.
Nice cup of cocoa.
It's bittersweet.
Right. Anyway. So Pat is back, and he has some really Eladrin elf. Thank you, Charles. Yes, Pat is back, and he has some interesting information about what he did in the UK without us.
I just did archaeology. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, but you went without us.
Right.
Yeah, Pat.
Yeah, Pat. Come on.
Right, because you know that's how it works.
Hey.
I thought Nat was supposed to go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be full disclosure here. You guys never really like answered emails about like, hey, I'm going. You never, I got more than
emails.
Nat
got
did.
no
I was
emails.
very public about my
I got like 2 emails, and one
Right.
was like, hey, you need to look up airfare, and I was looking up airfare, and I couldn't find it because you never gave me the exact dates, and I was like, hey, so when? And then we never really got much communication after that.
Right, and it was.
It's okay.
Hey, can you
I'll
get
think
time
of it.
off your new job? You didn't know if you'd be able to get.
Which failed anyway, so that
There you go.
sucks, but whatever.
The new job failed?
Say
Why
what?
she's in North Carolina.
Oh no, I'm in North Carolina. Yeah, the engineering job didn't go well, which is what I was not wanting to take time off for. However, had I known I was going to end up in James's pocket, then I probably could have set up something to end up overseas.
Well, and to be honest, I don't know how easy it's going to be as the excavation grows. I paid my own way this year. I'm hoping not to have to do that ever again. But I mean,
no, Kristen, I'm here. I'm already in NC. I'm staying. Saying that the new job as of December,
You're in Charlotte,
new job,
right?
not as of now.
Well,
Yeah,
you're in Charlotte, right?
Just so everybody knows. Yeah,
Oh no, I'm in Asheville.
Oh, Asheville. I
this
knew it was one of the
conversation
two.
took place like last November, December, because that's when I
Yeah,
had to
this,
know if you
this
could
took
go.
this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
We were all
Right.
figuring shit out.
Because you have to
Oh,
get
this is why the
permits to go.
emails didn't happen. I was under the knife like half of
Right.
the time. So that sucked.
And then you had the complication that came up, and you said probably can't afford
It got
airfare.
messy. Anyway, no blame. We're just gonna have to do the Romania one.
It's tough being a cyborg.
What are y'all
Well,
eating?
So
I'm more intrigued about
there are opportunities out there, but this is, I'm going to be very honest. I get asked this all the time. How do I get involved with an excavation? If you're an archaeology student, it's real easy. If you have an interest in archaeology, it's somewhat easy. And if you just want to do it, if it's a bucket list thing, you want to go on an archaeological excavation somewhere in the world, go to something like AIA, the Archaeological Institute of America, and look at field schools. Like someone like Archeo Wolf and Nat, like that's different getting them to an excavation than someone who just wants to do it for the first time as a student.
Yeah, getting a student there is one thing because they're required to have an internship or a field school in order to graduate, and they get kind of preferential treatment.
Right.
Getting us out there is more of a, hey, we need someone that's a professional in this specific area,
Right.
or we need someone that knows stuff about this particular thing, and they're going to put preference on education and experience on those types of situations.
Right.
In this case, I would be going over there pretty much blind because I'm guessing the soil wasn't all that too interesting.
It was pretty boring. Well, we did take some environmentals that I was told after they floated them were more interested. We're gonna get too technical, but they floated a few samples. They went, "Wow, this is pretty neat." I didn't care.
They floated some charcoal samples, perhaps.
Charcoal. We found some areas that looked like they were pre-Roman depositions. So
like
right.
old disturbed dirt.
That
I
would
love
be
it.
cool.
Okay, that's awesome. See, now you're talking my language. See, that's
Right.
the kind of stuff that I
And
would
so,
love. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I hated taking, and you take, and I don't think people understand, you have to take samples. There are these big, huge, we call them white buckets because they're white buckets. And you just take gallons and gallons and gallons of soil. And then you have to carry them as far as they need to go. And sometimes it's like a mile. And then you just form these trains of people walk, because you can get, I can't remember how many liters, but we ended up taking in pounds because I weighed them because I was being anal.
You didn't weigh it in stones.
No, we didn't weigh it. We didn't, kgs and lbs because England's by mercurial that way.
It's a good way to fuck up your calculations.
But it ended up being, about 125 pounds. And we did that a couple times. These were. I was going to say,
big. I'm used to getting the barrels and then sticking them in wheelbarrows and then rolling them away.
Right. Well, we did that once.
One time, somebody gave me a wagon, like a little kid red wagon. I was like, "This is the stupidest thing."
I'll tell you what. We had a couple little red wagons. I like them. Yeah. I think they're fun.
They're cute, but they're never tall enough for me. They're like, I've like bent down halfway to pull them. It's really annoying.
Yeah, and then I did a CRM survey out in Spokane, which I'm going to try never to do again, ever.
Spokane?
At least not at this time of
Who's
year.
that for?
No.
An undisclosed client, I guess. I don't know if I'm allowed to actually say the client's name, but it's a private investment group. Yeah.
It was Elon Musk, wasn't it?
No, but there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of renewable stuff going on in Eastern Washington, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is. Well, in other news, Pat, I am officially working on school again. I'm re-enlisted into the schooling things so that I can get my official soil science license. So that's a big deal. Everybody's super excited about it down here, and I am as well. So there's stuff in the works.
Everyone has so much exciting stuff happening in their life. It's like fucking Groundhog Day over here.
Hell yeah.
Nope.
Every day is
Nothing
the same.
Exciting here.
Yep,
well, then you just need to move, Ricky, obviously.
No, I need to. So the thing is, I'm figuring out how the class is going to work because it is remote. So if it's a live lecture, I'm going to have to tune in a certain time of the day. That's one thing. But if it's like one I can go back and play, then I can take potentially I can take time off to go up and see Ricky or go out and see family members because I haven't seen them since before surgery, and that's kind of been rough. But
My
yeah,
youngest is
I
having a
will.
birthday at the end of the month. Maybe you can come to that.
Nice.
Which
Oh,
one?
yeah.
Is Rachel having a birthday?
No,
No, no,
my
no,
birthday.
youngest Deacon.
Deacon's birthday.
Deacon. Okay, I was gonna say, isn't Rachel Halloween?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. That might be fun to like
She's a
show up on
Halloween baby.
Halloween and be like, boo.
She was a spooky baby. She's still
Oh,
a
they
spooky.
was spooky.
As I said before, it explains a lot.
It does. For her,
You
absolutely.
have no
Even
idea.
meant to be a witch.
To answer your question, Correa, I was just eating a couple of twice baked potatoes
Ooh, yum.
Oh.
and a glass of Love Street.
Mm.
Oh yeah, Morgan, what are you sipping on? I saw a looked like a ceramic bottle that you picked up.
Well, right now I'm eating Brazilian.
Well, but
Yeah,
you had a
Rice
ceramic
bowl.
bottle that you pulled from your shelf. I want to know if it's mead.
Is it me?
It's
Oh,
rum.
that's not what I
Oh.
thought. I thought you
And
guys-
it's not ceramic. It is in fact
It's
glass.
not. It's glass. Something looks ceramic.
Not even.
I'm off. I don't know.
Wow.
don't
I has
know
no
what's
idea.
happening.
It's been a long couple of days.
Well, you've been obviously. I don't know how you manage your anger level on TikTok. You got way too much. Like I joke purposely with you. Like, why do you fucking bother? Like, and you actually go because
It's my mental deficiency.
and you are the guy that will bang your head into a nail hammered into a wall. I've realized that now.
Yeah.
Like it's because they're idiots. The way
I know
you
they're
talk to the same idiots over and over and over again, like again,
I'm forever hopeful that I might reach one.
you won't. I'm sorry,
Ricky,
break you.
Do you
Yes.
see you miss
A boy can dream.
Yes.
What I missed?
It was my
check the
20th
message.
high school reunion this weekend.
How's that?
Oh yeah,
Did you go?
that was a thing.
I did.
That must have been weird.
Yeah.
It was. I was one of two guys who actually went. Everybody else who went were women, which is fine. I certainly have the coolest job because not a single person really talked about their job except me. Because you go around the table and it's, this one's a social worker, this one works a nonprofit, this one works at a bank, this
And
one's
he's an archaeologist.
and I'm an archaeologist, and it was like,
And all the girls go,
whoa.
All the girls go, he's pretty fly for a white guy.
Ricky,
Yeah,
do you see
yeah,
the
they do.
message from Neodemus?
And then they blame him for never talking to
And
them in
then
high school.
that was exactly it. And that was right. Nailed it on the head.
Oh, we get the live man.
Yeah.
I
There
had
he is.
nice.
Hold on.
Hello.
I'm trying to fix some settings over here. My
Paw
camera.
Patrol.
Did the
Yeah,
avatar
so my
get
kids
fired?
demanded that I.
That's awesome, though.
My kids demanded that I wear this shirt today, but yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm wearing Scar. It says I'm
There you go.
surrounded by idiots.
But
you're
yeah,
not
my,
in the
surrounded
middle of the
by
street.
idiots or whatever.
every once in a while, my virtual camera will just and I'm goofing around while I'm listening to you guys. My computer's just like
I'm a classic.
too many things are going on, so. But yeah, you get real nitty for a little bit while I fix
That's
stuff.
okay.
That's awesome.
My real face has been on like a variety of Christian and skeptic channels, so I just don't care anymore. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Oh,
like Paul
news
Newman.
in the conspiracy theory world.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are-
news came out. It's on CNN, so it must be actually kind of good.
Oh, no. What are we? What?
Does everybody remember who the Somerton Man was?
No.
No.
I think so.
So the Somerton Man was this guy in 1948. He's found dead on a bench on the boardwalk of the beach in Sydney,
Yep.
Australia. And he had no ID. He had like a wartime code book in his pocket. All of his clothing had the tags torn off. He had a train ticket, and he's just dead. And everyone was like, "Oh, he's a spy." And then they found some fragments of paper stitched into the lining of his jacket, which had like some phrase in Persian meaning the end. Anyway, it's been a very ominous thing. Oh, he's a spy. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. What kind of mystery is he? And of course, the pseudoscience community and conspiracy theory crowd has just been all over this for a long time because he couldn't have been just
time
some
travel and
guy. Yeah, time travel. He's related to time travel or something like that. He couldn't have been just some guy to have a coronary while on a park bench. Well, it turns out he was an electronical engineer from Sydney who had a heart attack on a park bench.
What?
They actually identified him using DNA and then like ancestry. They found extended family, and the only person in the family tree that's not accounted for is this guy who was born in 1905, and just his date of death isn't known because he died on a park bench in Sydney, Australia, 80 years before the internet made everything searchable.
Otangelo has entered the chat.
Yeah, not tonight, Otangelo.
Oh dear.
Theists, welcome. Oh, I mean, we're kind of talking archaeology, not necessarily religion at the moment. So, you know.
I dug a few of those up. Just kidding. Bad joke.
Religions or archaeologies?
No, we dug up some Christians.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, the Shroud of Turin is just such a compelling reason to believe.
Oh my
But
God!
Pat, how did you know they were
Shroud, that shroud, though.
Based
We found the blood of Jesus.
That too.
Well,
Grave
so
wasn't the lion gnaw marks in the bones?
No.
hey, just to clarify,
Oh.
can he hang out in the comments, just not join the?
Oh yeah,
live
you can hang
stream?
out in the comments.
Oh yeah, no, we're not banning him by any means. Good gracious, no.
I will tell you the most exciting thing. I think Natty and Arky Wolf will be excited about. Everybody else might not know why this is so exciting. We did find just right above the early post-Roman and late Roman context, we started finding early Saxon burials in apparently pagan contexts. So we had mixed deposition in grave goods between Christian and non-Christian, but then there were a Saxon imposition. Then there's later Anglo-Saxon, but not in this area. So there are.
Interesting.
It does, because there are not as many Saxon burials, but they've identified. Well, again, it's not published yet, but we're thinking we had 3 this year. Well, 1 last year, and then 2 more this year. So
that's interesting.
They were the Saxons when they came in. They weren't very population dense. They obviously, it appears they moved in with the late Romano-British people, and then because it's in the Nen Valley, so it's right next to a river. Saxons go everywhere by boat. So it appears that as the population just density plunged, that there was some Saxon incursion in the area, and it we're not finding traumatic wounds, so it appears that some Saxons move in.
Well, I mean, we can't assume that every single one was at war with each other all the time. There had to have been some crossings where there was neighbors hey, I realize you're not really my type of person, but we're still
that
chill,
Bob
right?
guy is here. He's selling brushes again.
Well, so actually, again, I got it. True, but we think that the Saxon federati in Britain were coastal, right? So they talk about the Saxon shore, right?
Yeah.
It appears the Romans invited some Saxons. Hey, come work for us as federati, as soldiers. You'll do the boat stuff. I hear people are good at that. But it appears that more of them came much, into the Midlands as well. So it appears that even after the Romans left, the Saxons may not have been a conquering force. They may have done definitely did some pillaging and some beating some people up, but everybody did that back then. And it may have been a much more reasonable migratory spread.
Are you saying the Romans introduced the Saxons to Great Britain?
That's exactly what happened. That's in the literature. Yeah, that's pretty much not doubted anymore. Because we do know that the Saxons were engaged as federati. So part of the process of federati is settling them, and then whether or not the Saxon shore meant a coastal defense or coastal defenses that included Saxons as the people manning the barricades, or at least in line with some other troops imported from around the empire. Now the Romans liked their Germans. They liked all the Germans. The Germans were great fighters. They're like, hey, we gotta Gotta bring these
They
people
like
over.
the Germans because they couldn't beat the Germans.
Right, exactly. Hey, can we pay you? It was
You can't beat them. Have them join you.
the really bad joke that I saw, but it's pretty funny, is how does a Roman negotiate with a German? And it's like this: please don't beat us up. Please, here's some money. Because they always talk about them being
we'll
ahead.
get you money.
They're always ahead
We don't even
taller
have
than the
to fight.
Italians, right?
You win already.
Yeah.
You win. We'll
I mean,
work with you.
That's like this video that I saw that was like a Canadian ninja, and it was like a guy being like, if you can take this pine cone out of the sand, you will be the greatest ninja of all time. And he's like, may I have the pine cone in your hand? And he's like,
yeah, here you go.
You are the greatest.
Oh yeah, here you go.
Wow.
Yep. I heard
That's
that a while back.
powerful.
That one was pretty great.
Man.
Jesus.
So what have you been digging lately, Archeo?
Just been doing survey mostly for timber sale stuff, fire salvage mostly. All of the historic stuff on the Anderson Hill fire was about 5 times bigger than it had been recorded in the 70s because all the organic material is gone. The fire was so total. And so we're finding that like some of these structures up there that you would think, oh, log cabin, woo, compressed gas lighting.
Ooh.
The structure was twice the size that, like part of it had burned down or part of it had collapsed, and then it was the other part was reused in the 30s. The whole thing had compressed gas lighting, and judging by the trash scatter out the back, it was not a cabin. Too many corset stays and garter hooks to be a cabin. It was most likely
Ooh la la.
an ooh la la, yeah.
Ooh la la. Les brothels. Les saloons.
Lots of perfume, fancy stuff. I found a pocket watch.
That's where you found it? That's where that was. Oh, okay. I'm putting.
And I was actually able to get some identifying marks off of the pocket watch, and it was manufactured in 1897. The company I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, there you go. Watchmaker argument.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Who created the pocket watch?
Pat bringing it back.
We go full circle.
No, I just
So-
yeah.
But it's also been a lot of what is it? Bailing everybody out and holding up the entirety of the thing because they brought in a brand new permanent who knows nothing about the area, and they hired a crew chief who's only had a job for 6 months.
That works out well.
So I have been essentially the muscle, the mule, and the record keeper of all the things. And then this field office just acquired another, 58,000 square acres that we now just have to mitigate.
Oh, good Lord.
Ahead of any sort of prescribed timber action, which the way the big boss is doing it, the assistant field manager is the fuels specialist for 120 days. And he's just putting out polygons in the new sections for survey. And he's just like, we're just going to burn all of it. In a year, they'll come back and orchestrate a timber sale. But because we have to do a total survey on a burn, we're literally going map section by map section.
Oh my
And
God.
the half of the stuff that in the map section is over 40%. So we're not going to survey. We can't.
That's very technical. You're boring people, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, it's frustrating.
we got the LiDAR data, or the LiDAR got shot and everything for the area. So now we will actually be able to establish where all of the trails are that the indigenous folk use to go from one place to another. And we can start mapping those. And then we just acquired Twin Creeks, which is drainage that is famous in history for one reason and one reason only, apparently. And that's where Meriwether Lewis had to have a campsite for one night.
One night.
Lewis and Clark, Lewis and Clark parked his ass there for one night. And it would be the only campsite within our district, which is but the trail they used is one of the major cultural components. But of course, it's, it's not that big deal in my mind. I think the 10,000 years of human history before Lewis and Clark ever got there is more important. But
right, but those are the white guys.
What do I know?
but those are the white guys.
Yeah. We established that a couple of the Jesuit Crosses. This is kind of a nice twist of things. The recorded Jesuit Crosses on top of Alice Creek and Lewis and Clark Pass are in fact not crosses. They are turtle effigies, which just so happen when you make an alignment of rocks look suspiciously like a Jesuit cross. So, and the actual Jesuit cross is still there. It's just in the wrong spot. So whenever De Smet or his minion in the 1840s traveling with the Salish in a bid to convert them on the buffalo hunt, which is like, let people go enjoy, stop ruining shit. But his cross that he made is still extant, but it's not where the pass is. It's in a completely different spot. So yeah, that was fun. We established that.
That's weird.
It's all weird. It's all weird. Them Jesuits.
Them Jesuits.
Them
Gotta
Jesuits.
be the strange ones. Don't get me started.
Get me started on them Jesuits, man. Can't live with them. Can't live without them.
Don't get John started on them Jews.
Can't live with them. Can't give them to the lions. What?
Can't give them to the lions. Oh, the worst.
Oh, mountain lions. That's the other thing.
Oh.
It's interesting when you live in a place where, I complain about out-of-staters and I complain about the traffic and I complain about all this stuff. Yeah, apparently my daughter's school has been sending out emails because there is mountain lion activity in the neighborhood around the school. And I'm like, there's no cover for like 7 miles.
So the warning is Chihuahuas and children, right? Like, don't have them off your property. Okay.
Pretty much. And then I discovered this because they had another mountain lion get into a house in Great Falls. Apparently they can't relocate mountain lions.
No.
So they just kill them.
Yep.
I thought that was a bummer. But,
it is a bummer.
Yeah, but they can't
go
relocate
right back
them
to
like
where
they do
were.
with bears.
True.
And I saw a grizzly bear the other day.
It also depends on the bear.
Fourth
if it
one of
does
the
it more
season.
than once, they'll stop relocating it and just shoot it.
You're visible, Carol.
I need someone to help me manage my trash pandas. That's what I'm having a problem with lately.
Oh yes, the trash pandas.
I got a
Lovely.
great way to do that.
Oh no. Oh wait.
Bring it. Hats.
Like put a little hat on it and make it cuter, or
turn them into hats.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Davy
Crockett style.
We had one get in and kill all of our chickens.
That's what they're doing. They're picking
And
mine
I
off.
Robin Hooded him in the driveway.
He literally strung him up.
I William Wallace'd his ass. And the raccoons haven't come back, but the foxes, however, have decided to come back. And they're a little bit more wily. I haven't been able to stick one of them.
It's kind of funny because the predators you think are going to get chickens, right? Raccoons have been my worst. Again, you lose, you expect to lose, like, depending on how well you take care of your chickens, and we're pretty good. Mm-hmm. We still expect to lose 1 or 2 a year. Just, it happens, right? Well, sometimes they won't chickens are dumb. Sometimes they won't come in to roost, so they won't come in with the rest, right? And then because they're gonna perch in a tree, and then they get snagged. That just happens. So every once in a while, one gets dumb, and they just, nature takes over.
The end of that.
But I thought, well, the coyotes here are gonna be real problematic. No problem. I haven't had a problem with coyotes. Now, my neighbors do. They snatch everything. Mine are okay. My little Australian shepherd barks enough, I guess they won't come in the yard. And then the one that what's really been just ravaging our neighborhood is we have this bobcat who's fearless.
Really?
And, oh yeah, he's figuring out, like, luckily my coop, you can't just manually lift it, but some of my neighbors have manual lift, and he'll just come and go, and we think it's probably we're calling him, but it could be she just, and then your chicken coop's cleaned out. Like, it is, because cat's like, I can do this, I can slide in, I can kill all your chickens and leave. And then what's funny is then, like, after the bobcat leaves, the raccoons wait. They're like, hey, there's a lot of dead chickens in the yard, and then you see the raccoons coming in and scavenging, because they're scavenging
dead chickens,
right? And so my neighbor's like, I had raccoons in my yard. I'm like, yeah, the raccoons didn't do that. That was a bobcat. I heard the bobcat in your yard. I tried calling you, but you were too drunk to pick up your phone. So,
well,
we have skunks and groundhogs and possums, but possums aren't a problem. The possums will come in my garage, and then you just pick it up, and it plays dead.
If you're gonna,
don't the possums in your garage usually get into fights with your cat or something?
That's the ones in the basement.
I love possums.
Basement possum's dead.
That's true.
Right, because the cats killed it.
Cat killed it, yeah. So yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yes.
I just don't remember ever talking about that or anything.
No, you found the baby in the garage.
No, you haven't talked about it on TikTok, because I think people would come for you, being like, "See."
Oh yeah.
Well, they came after you for the fucking
groundhog
thing.
The groundhog, yeah. You know what the response to the groundhog is, right?
They're a huge problem here. Like, they don't have any natural predators here, and they're everywhere, and they dig under everyone's sheds and everything, and they cause problems.
Yeah. Rock chucks. They're just a rock chuck. And what's the difference between a rock chuck and a woodchuck? The pile that they live in. It's the pile they live in. They're yellow belly marmots, and they do
yellow belly marmots.
And they're I've gotten more than a few of those this year too, because they get in. They're like a badger that doesn't eat gophers, and I'm pretty sure the only bit of intelligence they have is to destroy things that don't belong to them.
Yep.
The roots of my fruit trees. That's what they like.
Yeah.
So Ricky, you can put all that high-end military weapons training into a 177 caliber pellet gun, and
do what needs to be done. Yeah,
you can.
Like, I okay. So we're gonna go off on a totally other, but for those that are interested in it, have you guys priced a high-end air rifle lately? Because I just picked up a high-end 22 caliber air rifle. Holy crap! They got air rifles now, 1400 FPS.
Oh, shit.
That's ridiculous.
Dude, that's like lethal. Like that's like
what's a 22 travel at? Like a legit 22.
Like 1200, yeah.
Well, no,
not even like 800.
No, it's I think it's like 2,000 feet per second on a 22 out of a rifle, long rifle.
Oh, out of a long rifle.
40 grain bullet from a 22 long rifle is 1,200 feet.
Okay.
FPS. 131 pound-foot of energy.
I would say 223
grain is
1900.
Yeah. 38 grain is 26 or 1260.
Yeah.
32 is 1430. 31 is 1750.
Yeah.
So if you're getting an air rifle that's 1400.
Yep.
That's pretty gnarly.
That's next level.
That'll do the job.
that's like some of these bows, these compound bows that people have now that have like 47 pulleys and they're made out of all sort of space shuttle shit.
300-pound
Oh my
draw.
God.
That Huck and Arrow at 3,800 feet per second. Like that's a rifle.
That's ridiculous.
You can't hunt in the river bottom with that. That's bullshit. It wasn't me.
Got to work out your mallet technique.
I did get a classic.
Sorry about that. My
firearm.
phone is on silent, but it's linked to my MacBook, so whenever it calls, it like freaks
Nice.
out.
That's okay.
It's all good.
I did get an antique from my dad the other day.
Oh, what's that?
A 1923 Remington Model 8.
Oh yes.
Ooh, nice.
And the guy that my dad got it from, his father had purchased it brand new in 1923, and Billy got it from his dad in the 50s, and then Billy's son-in-law in like 1976 fell off the horse or got off the horse and stumbled, and he jammed the barrel in the mud or the snow. And then he took up line of sight and he shot a deer with it, and it didn't rupture the chamber, but it blew out the side of the barrel about 3/4 of the way down and ruptured the barrel. So this rifle, perfectly good rifle, has a ruptured barrel in 35 Remington, which apparently no one could find, and the barrel itself nobody could find. So my dad brought it to a gunsmith friend of his who took it apart, couldn't find a barrel for it, couldn't fix it, put it back together, gave my dad a list of the price of all the pieces on the gun. Like the peep sight's worth $400. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, they didn't give it to me because I sat down and I found a barrel within 20 minutes and it was here the next Tuesday. So I have a barrel. I just need to bring it to somebody who knows more about it than I do, because it's a semi-auto, but the gas cylinder is around the barrel,
Around like a twist
like
around it?
Red Ryder, like a Red Ryder. The gas cylinder for racking the action is actually in a sleeve that goes around the
sleeve.
barrel.
Okay.
Yeah.
What caliber is it?
35 Remington.
So is it built
is
on
just
the
faster.
old? Is it the old? Yeah. Is it built on the old Remington when they made that BAR
We're
civilian?
not going to get in trouble for showing real toys on here, are we?
Yeah, you
This ain't
could.
TikTok.
Yeah, but
We can do whatever we want here.
yep, that's it. Yep.
Oh my
So-
god, that is.
And so
It's
the
got double sleeve barrel. It's built on
Yeah.
the old. It's a civilian model of the old Browning BAR.
Oh, that's
yeah,
nice.
it is.
Yeah, that's right. I
Um,
forgot. YouTube's censor
and
rules
it's,
are much more reasonable than TikTok.
It's
Yeah, a lot more reasonable.
it's really nice. I mean,
It's heavy, and they're heavy as fuck. They really are.
Like the worst is that it might be demonetized.
I was gonna
because
say you can't
I-
say something's heavy as fuck, and then like Archeowolf's just like, no, but he's also
No.
a giant.
I've also carried a full furniture, unmodified 1916 Lee Enfield rifle hunting elk because someone told me I couldn't do it.
Oh,
So I
right.
carried it
That's
all over
stubborn
the
streak
country.
of yours.
Yeah,
So
mine
it was an instance of challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. And I got one. I got an elk with it at like 200 yards. But that gun was heavy. That had more. There was more wood on that than a dining set.
Well, it's the double sleeve barrel that actually makes that rifle heavy. And so at 14, my dad bought me a 32 caliber of that, and that was my first brush gun. Because, like you said, I'm not buying you a nice deer rifle. Because you're 14. But just to go back, Ruger makes now the Air Magnum break barrel in 177 caliber with alloy pellets. It's 1400 FPS. In 22 caliber with alloy pellets, it's 1200 FPS. That's the new end of. That's where you can get an air rifle to now. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you can't let your kid go in the backyard and shoot their like your 14-year-old couldn't go in the backyard and just shoot that anymore.
No.
For fun. It's not a BB gun. it's like that's where they miss the backstop and it hits the neighbor down the street in the head and
Kills them.
Yeah, I mean,
or scrambles them up pretty bad.
Scrambles them up pretty bad. Yeah.
I remember my dad had one that was one of the break open single shots in 177, and I can't remember who made it, but it was from the 70s, and that thing was essentially a real 22. I mean, it was a real rifle. It hit gophers just as hard, but it didn't have the range.
Right.
But within 300 feet, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it was nothing like the first one I got, which was plastic.
Yeah, Red Rider.
No, I never had a Red Rider.
I had the later Daisy version of the Red Rider.
It's good. I
remember, yeah. And I remember, you could shoot yourself if you were wearing shoes. You could shoot yourself in the foot with it, and you'd be okay.
Yeah. Those were the ones that kids I knew used to shoot each other with. They wouldn't go through a sheet of paper, or they wouldn't go through a soda can.
They definitely
go through a sheet of paper. Yeah. And yeah, I never had one of those, but the first one I got was a Daisy, but it was one that you had to pump like 18, 20 times to actually shoot it.
Jump in, Mel, if you're decent, or even if you're
No.
not
Even if you're not decent, jump in.
Yeah, this isn't TikTok. You can do that.
I want to stay, but my wife said I had till 7:30, and since I got fired from my last show, my Sundays are free.
Oh no!
Our joke is Biddy and I broke up. We're divorced.
There's a home for you here, sir.
Well, no, so I kind of that's the joke, but no, what's happening is Biddy redid the whole channel. She's only doing pre-recorded stuff now. So I'm still behind the scenes, helping her with stuff. We're actually I've just outlined a book that her and I are gonna joint write.
Nice.
So
nice.
Nice.
So we're still working on projects together, but she's definitely going down this ritual agnostic path that she's on, which I'll support her. That's not my cup of tea. It's something I know quite a bit about, but it's not my practice, not my jam. So yeah.
Mine's Huckleberry.
Yeah, that's cool. I like boysenberry better.
Can I ask you a question that
the great and powerful Oz?
Oz, get your ass in here. What's going on?
Powerful Oz.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Okay. There's no man behind the curtain.
We're not paying attention to that guy.
Pay no mind.
Hey Oz, how are you doing?
Were you about to go, Pat, before we go off on another?
Yeah, I was. My wife is giving me you said 7:30.
Okay, love you, Pat.
All right. All right. Take care, Pat. We'll see you.
Bye.
Peace out, Pat.
Later.
Oz, what are you up to, man? How was Better? I know I didn't make it, but I wanted to say hi.
Better was.
What's up, everybody? And yeah, Better was. I mean, any event you put on, there's the behind the scenes stuff that causes you stress and everything. But all in all, from a 30,000, 30,000 foot view, it was fucking badass. So
nice.
For the first event, it all looked like it went as smoothly as a first event.
For being it the first time, it went. It sounds like it went fairly smooth.
Yeah, it as far as optics and the things you can control, let's say that the things you can control doing a live event like that, the Lord provided. He saw it and made sure that everything went smoothly.
The flying spaghetti monster.
Spaghetti monster, praise be.
Yeah. Oh Lord, Loudy.
He is good.
It was. It was badass.
Take of this sauce. Take of this starch.
Sauce and starch.
Take of the starch. Take of the balls of meat.
May his noodly appendages guide you.
Look out for penetration.
Ramen.
Ramen. Yes. May his saltiness guide your tongue, guide your palate.
Trey's like, I see what you've done there. All in.
And for those that may want to attend next year, we're trying to put it out there. It's like 99%. We have the date set. We'll make an official announcement probably around November.
Oh, sweetness.
Awesome.
But it'll be the first weekend of June. We're going to try to plan it earlier in June. That way, flight costs aren't like fucking to the moon and back.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be the same venue or
nope, different venue, because this venue I'm not going to bore you guys with all the details, but they between the venue and the hotel that we did the block rates with, as soon as they learned, because you remember Indiana is very very Christian conservative, yada yada yada. As soon as they found out it was a quote unquote atheist, or as the hotel manager called it, anti-Christian group, we got all kinds of pushback and just difficulty, like, because the long story short, the hotel room, the block rates, that should have been the easiest step in the process. That should have been one of the things, like, we set it up, it's done, and it's good until everybody's gone and they're paid, right? That was the biggest thorn on my side, because the manager of that hotel hated me just because I was an atheist, and hated our group because we were atheists. So
that can't be right. I thought Christians were the ones who were persecuted in this country.
She gave everyone the stink eye. Like, you can feel it in the other room. Like, damn.
Oh, the last time I went in there, it was about 3 days before everybody started coming in. I went in just to confirm everything was good. And now, mind you, I'd been planning this as far as, local contacts and everything, been planning it for 2 years because of COVID, right? We kept having to reschedule and push back and reschedule and push back. And every time I went in there, she acted like she didn't know who I was. And it not like I'm a big deal, but it's just like, we've talked like 20 times now. You don't know who I am?
But she did it in that Midwest way.
Yeah. Oh, it was. How can the very passive aggressive? Oh, how can I help you, sir? We're beyond sir. You know my name. You know the group. You know everything. And then
we are beyond this.
And that last time she was like, "And what group are you with again?" And I just started calling her Linda.
This bitch.
And
sorry,
I said,
but this
bitch. I was like, Linda,
Linda, listen.
I'm putting this together for your code or your tag or whatever in the system is supposed to be better. That's the name of our event. That's the name of our conference. Like, if you don't know me, you should at least know that by now. She was like, oh no, I remember you. You're that anti-Christian group. And it took everything inside of me to not bite back, right? But it was like it was like, hold on, not only am I representing me right now, we have I don't know how many people are going to show up. It could be 100, 200, 300, whatever. How many people are going to show up? And I'm representing the community. I'm representing these other folks that are going to stay here as well. So Oz, shut the fuck up. Don't say shit. Don't say shit. And so I kept my mouth shut. And then, like, that brief pause was nothing longer than maybe 5 or 10 seconds. And she was like, oh, but you probably don't call yourselves that, do you?
Damn.
And I was like, no, I said, actually, we don't. We don't refer to ourselves as anti-Christians. I said, I actually prefer just to refer to myself as a skeptic first and then an atheist. And we just don't see a good reason to believe in a God, but there's going to be plenty of people in your hotel. And I would encourage you to, like, have a drink with them, sit down, talk with them. And I think you would find out really quick that this group's really full of amazing people if you took the time to get to know them. And then she hated it. She hated that I didn't bite back. She was pissed.
Well, of course, because you didn't persecute her, which is her kink.
Yeah.
Right. She wanted to be victimized. Why didn't you victimize her? Come on.
Because she wanted
Crucify
you to
me harder, Daddy.
Well,
now she has to go to her church and say, there was these atheists that came in and they were
so nice
to me.
They were
You
nice.
guys.
I'm questioning everything because they were nice to me.
This atheist didn't call me a Jesus freak like I wanted.
Exactly.
Or
now,
did he? Them Jesus freaks.
I did internally. I did internally.
Internally. This Jesus fucking bitch.
But no, and right over her, like if I'm facing her, it'd be my left side, so her right shoulder, she had this big picture in her office, and it said, work hard, have faith, work hard, pray harder. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if that's even a logical process there, but okay.
So is that supposed to be the Christian version of live, laugh, love?
Live, laugh, fuck, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Smile.
I have difficulty. Okay, I have difficulty when people have those just random ass words hanging in their house. It's like all that tells me is you shop at Target and you're not very creative.
Or Hobby Lobby. Yeah, you went to Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, there you go.
Hobby Lobby.
But and I'll say this, and I'll shut up about better. What I'm excited about is so the Coliseum. It's a huge venue. It's a beautiful venue. But the other thing they did is they got a new manager. The previous manager was cool as fuck, and bent over backwards to try to help us, and with it being our first event, yada yada yada. Well, then that manager, whether I don't know whether they left or were fired or whatever, but this new manager came in, and I already knew I was in trouble because the first time I met with that manager at the Coliseum, all his own personal items were now in the office with his family, and it had scriptures and yada yada yada. I'm like, fuck me. Now I'm gonna have to deal with this too. So we had full access. When I say full access, we had 100% full capability of using all of the equipment that I had personally purchased for this event and then the future events, as far as lighting, haze machines, smoke machines, like all this stuff to make it a great conference, but also to provide an experience, right? That's fun and entertaining and all that as well. And this new guy comes in, and he was like, well, yeah, if you want to use the haze machine and the fog machines, you're going to have to pay an extra $60 an hour for the entire time you're there.
What the fuck?
Why?
Yeah, for a firefighter to be there, because we're going to have to turn the smoke detectors off.
Oh, jeez.
And I said, well,
those
hold on.
haze machines not make smoke? Isn't it like some sort of chemical reaction?
I thought it was like water vapor.
Fog machine? Yeah.
Well,
That's just water vapor.
Well, and I pointed that out. I said, I pulled it up, like, because the conference room we were in had a computer there. I pulled it up. I was like, no, what you don't understand is there's a huge difference between like the old school fog machines and these new haze machines that are all water based. It's not even oil based. There's not even oil in there. It's water based fluid, and it's very, 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 very highly unlikely that it's going to trigger anything. I said, and I've tested it. I've set the motherfuckers off in my home just to see if it triggered the smoke detectors.
How fun was that, though? Like, how much fun was that?
Oh, I filled my entire house. You couldn't even see. It was like
he's like, I'm not saying that I had fun, but I had a lot of fun.
I did have a lot of fun.
I made it look like smoke bombs went off all over my house.
No, it looked like
sounds
from
more
the
fun than the time my dad created smoke with cayenne pepper.
Yeah, from the outside, like once I opened the windows, I'm sure people thought my house was on fire. I mean, that's how thick that I had the smoke in there. But he said, well, no, he said, I just don't feel comfortable with it, because if something does happen, not only do the sprinklers come on and does it shut down your event, all of the events in the building get shut down at that point, and they're all done. And I said, yeah, but we already negotiated this, man, before I even met you. Like all this is already in writing. And he was like, I know, but in the small print, if you read in the small print, when it comes to anything that could be a liability to us as an organization or the building, we can change directions or change paths basically at any point. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's where we're at. We're just gonna do that without having a conversation. You're just gonna make that decision. There's no compromise. There's nothing. And he was like, no, this is what I feel like we have to do for the building and for the organization.
What he feels like.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
Correa, that'd be helpful.
Yep. And so I say all that to say we've already we already have a new venue. I'm just negotiating pricing at this point. And the beautiful part is because the other thing they wouldn't let us do is we had to cater through them. And just one day of lunch and dinner was going to be just one day. So think about it, the two and a half days we were there. Just one day's difference was $800 in lunches, just in catering. So the new venue we have there, we can cater whoever we want. We can bring in whoever we want, and we can have everything on site. So we can have the normal conference, and then the after party. We can have the after party there and set up everything and have the food, have this fucking smoke machines that I paid, all the shit that I paid thousands of fucking goddamn dollars for that couldn't use. All right, anyway.
Tells how you really feel.
I love it.
dude.
I love it when Oz gets all riled up. It makes me really
Yeah, me
happy.
too.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's like one of the best things ever when he gets all
Really
riled up.
shakes the
It
curtain.
sounds like this. It sounds like the next better might be better than.
It's a better.
It's a better.
Better.
It
Call
actually
it
will be
even
better.
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 It
Call
will
it
be
even
better.
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 And the following year, call it the best.
The best.
Better.
The
It's
better
be-
best.
It's going to be
And
better
then-
than better.
And then the
Better
last,
than better.
Then the following year, call it the ultimate.
Is it better than butter though?
Nothing is better than butter.
Nothing's better than butter. I agree, especially on corn on cob.
Except, except candied bacon.
Ooh,
I
yeah,
love-
candy
yeah,
bacon's pretty
and-
good.
Candied
Well,
bacon.
guys, I am going to actually dip.
You've never had candied bacon, Mr. Harrison?
No, Harrison.
Exactly.
What did
You
I
haven't had
just
candied
miss?
bacon. You're fired.
He called him Mr. Harrison instead of Harrington.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. Someone who's never had candied bacon.
Oh wait, isn't that the name of? That's the fucking South Park.
Oh, did you tell the dates? Because you said
Harrington.
that. But you said early the first week of
You can hit my
June,
bows, Mr.
weekend
Harrison.
of June. Is that right?
shake my bears, Mr. Harrison.
There it is.
Well, I didn't mean that, but all right.
I'm sorry. How would you like to shake my bears, Mr. Harrison?
Mr. Harrison. Okay.
Pat,
I
it's
am
gonna
out.
be the first
Bye,
weekend
Nat.
in June. It looks like.
Good night, dear.
Bye.
Yes, right. It's what I'm getting ready to. I'm in my car now, but if you look at the calendar, it's either the 2nd or 3rd, or the 3rd or 4th, something like that of June.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
And we're gonna obviously there was a lot of things that went great. Actually, most things went great. But you live and you learn, and especially the first time. And we're gonna kind of restructure. One, to better stay on schedule, but two, we want more. We want more interaction with the attendees and speakers and panelists this time. We want to have a lot more of that. So that'll be exciting.
That makes sense. I thought, especially with it being your very first one, I thought it was amazing. I loved the speakers. I shared in the chat, but if you haven't had a chance to watch Shannon Q's or Holy Kool-Aid speeches, they are available on their channel, and they were amazing.
Yeah, they were really good. I got to see that.
I don't know if anyone else's speech is up on their channels or anything, but
No, mine will go up probably, what are we, July?
I think I saw part of
No,
Holy
August.
Kool-Aid's.
Yeah, those two were, as far as the individual speakers, those were probably my two favorite. Although, I mean, Seth Andrews always delivers.
Seth
But
Andrews, Apologia, Dr. Josh, there were so many amazing ones, but Holy Kool-Aid's almost caused a short circuit in my brain and caused me to rethink how I interact with everyone in my life. So
yeah, between his and Shannon's, and then probably the most beneficial for me, just as an individual, my own person, was probably the panel that I was on with Seth and Josh and Drew. And Drew, for where I've been the last 6 months as far as all the bullshit and drama and everything Drew said I needed to hear. And Drew hit a grand slam for me personally. That was probably the most impactful, segment or whatever of the conference.
Yeah.
From the little clips I saw, I think I really enjoyed the guest appearance by Dr. Kent Hovind.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty epic.
He always knocks it out of the park. Oh, and there also was this kick-ass LGBTQ panel that might have had someone on it.
Oh, you were on that.
I was on it.
Didn't catch that one. Just kidding.
Yes, she was.
It was awesome.
That was good.
It was the student Dr. Ben and Stephanie. And Stephanie like has such an amazing story. Like I could sit and talk with Stephanie for hours.
And next year we because that for a variety of reasons, obviously we'd already scheduled that panel and things happened, and Jenna did a great job because when all that was going down, I was dealing with behind the scenes fucking bullshit, and Jenna did an amazing job of bringing that panel together and making that happen. And it actually created an idea for next year where we're going to have hopefully two, if not one, but hopefully two, where we're actually going to based on what kind of the main topic or main focuses for next year's event, we're gonna have one or two panels that we recruit people from the audience.
Ooh.
That would be cool. Because I was kind of recruited last minute, both Stephanie and I were, and that turned out really cool. So getting even more people would be amazing.
Yeah, and I think that's something as far as there's the event and then there's the experience. And I think that would be badass. People come in and you don't know. You could be. It doesn't mean that if you're asked, that people have to do it, but you could be asked to be part of one or two of the panels, and that could be part of the memory or the experience that may even help somebody in the process. Sorry, there's a should be gone now. There was a motorcycle right next to me.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that again, just providing the experience and people feeling like they're more involved.
Definitely.
That was great.
Yeah, but the AACon was my first like atheist convention, and I fucking got bit by the bug, man. Like I want to go to like every convention I possibly can.
Yeah, I'll need to see if there are
stuck with all these kids all day, every day. So
yeah, I'll need to see if there are any atheist conventions in Houston.
There was one.
Or they just maybe in. Sorry, go ahead.
I live in Pennsylvania. There's one in New York this weekend, and Bill Nye the Science Guy was like the keynote speaker at it. And I was like, fuck, I didn't find out about it until like Thursday, like last Thursday.
Yeah, Holy Kool-Aid was like, "Did you know this was happening?" We were like, "No." I
was like, "God damn!" Not that I would have been able to go anyway, but it's like I'm like 3 or 4 hours from New York. Like I could have made that one if I had.
Oh yeah, that's right. You live in a place where you drive for 3 hours and you're in a different state.
Yep. Were you in Texas?
Texas, you drive for 3 hours and it's still Texas.
Yep. I used to live in Texas. I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I think I can get to 3 different states in 3 hours.
Probably.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can cross Maryland and go into Virginia.
Yeah, I can hit Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, and almost Kentucky.
I used to be like that, but now that I'm in Sacramento or San Francisco, I can't.
Yeah.
I found a local skeptic group on Meetup around here, and I went to it, and it was like 4 really old people. I was like, I didn't know it was in a Chinese restaurant, and I was like, where the fuck? I was like, is this? I'm gonna ask, are you guys with it? They're like, yeah, hey. Yeah, I was like, oh, cool. I was hoping to be a little bit more people, but still had a good time.
There's an atheist organization, I think, in Houston, except they meet at 11 o'clock a.m. on Sundays, which to me completely defeats the whole purpose of being an atheist, which is to sleep in on Sunday.
I agree, and I love them. There was a group, a local group here in Fort Wayne that like last minute found out about the conference, and I think it was 4 of them bought tickets and came, and I met them and I've hung out with them a couple times. We actually went to the After Dark. Was Fort Wayne's first LGBTQ plus like open bar and club, and we met there and hung out as well a few weeks ago. But yeah, I was like, what time is it? What day and what time? They're like, oh, it's on Sundays. I was like, what, like 5, 6 o'clock? And they're like, no, 10 a.m. I'm like, what the fuck?
Why?
What? Why? I don't get up that early on Sunday anymore.
Yeah, I went to this like online virtual virtual church, atheist church this afternoon, but it was at noon. Like,
yeah, that's what's up. That's the real reason we deconstruct, so that we can
so we can sleep out on Sundays.
Well, and I work at a comedy club. I don't get home like on Friday nights, Saturday nights. Typically, I don't get home till like 3, 4 a.m. My ass ain't out of bed even by noon.
Jesus.
Yeah, and frequently with me being a substitute teacher, I have to be up at 5 a.m. So any chance I get to sleep in, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah. Oh man, I think I got about 10 more minutes left in me, and I'm gonna start wrapping things up.
Yeah, I gotta go drive to San Jose to check out a puppy.
I was about to say, I'm gonna jump off here. I'm gonna meet a buddy here at this. What's actually the pub we came to downtown? If there's anybody here, the members of Riley's, but yeah, where we went after Sunday night, what the fuck ever it was. But I'm gonna go in here and do that. But thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in, Oz, man.
Hell yeah.
Great and powerful Oz.
Jimmy, how far are you from Austin?
From Austin? Well, from Houston to Austin, that's about at least a 4-hour drive, probably.
Okay, because so they took a break this year, but usually every year Faithless Forum has a convention.
Oh, okay.
I think they canceled it this year, or they're going virtual this year.
No, they canceled it this year. That's why Holy Kool-Aid came to better, was because he was, he usually in like July would have around the same time would have Faithless Forum, but they decided not to do it this year. So he was like, oh, there's gonna be this convention, I'm gonna go to that.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end things there a little bit early, guys.
Yeah,
Right.
it's good. This is fun.
This was fun. Maybe I should do this like once a month or something.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah, just to relax.
Yeah, this was a big hit ish. Got some cool people in here. Plus Freya.
But yeah, so we should start plugging Jimmy's stuff on TikTok so he can get to 1,000 followers so he can go live with us.
Definitely.
His content's awesome.
Well, I don't even think I follow you. I think I do. I'll have to check.
You better. It took you forever to follow me.
I don't follow.
Actually, you do follow me. We're mutuals.
Okay.
I know that.
I don't like to follow like every atheist because I don't want my For You page flooded with people talking about how God doesn't exist. Like, cool, I got it. I like watching people make shit, and like that's one of my For You page, like artists and things like that, and educational stuff.
Yeah, but you should at least follow your friends.
I do, but most of them, I think. But even still, like, don't fucking take it personally.
You still don't follow me on Instagram, which I never post there anyway.
I'm not on the Instagram very much. I post, but I'm never like on there.
I post every 2 months when I remember I have one. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll post this thing.
Right.
Dude, Jimmy, get to YouTube.
I should. I have thought about that.
Especially one of your most interesting TikToks was how music was used as oppression
Oh, yeah, that thing.
House during slavery. That one I was like, tell me more, tell me everything. Like,
yeah, that I got from the essay on music from the 1619 Project and also my college textbook on music history, which is a real page turner, as most college textbooks are.
Not bad.
well, that's like whenever people. How does the direction work? Okay, so whenever people ask Ricky, like, what are your sources? Like, half of them are school textbooks that he had from school. And it's like, yeah, you're not going to buy a $200 textbook just to fact check one thing. That
Yeah.
No, but you can go to the bookstore and find it and take a picture of the page.
Yeah.
Yes,
Now,
you
in
can.
my case, I actually got this one for free because I just found a download version of it.
There you go.
There you go.
nice.
Yeah.
I got a few that way too.
Alrighty. I'm going to go see about a puppy.
All right.
Oh, that's
right.
good.
That's not a euphemism for anything. It's a literal, like, I'm going out to
As opposed to
say,
Send pictures either way.
as opposed to, see a man about a horse.
Again,
Which
picture
is
didn't happen.
very different thing altogether.
yeah. Alrighty.
All right.
Good night, guys.
All right. We'll see you.
Thank you, One Witch Lady. Thank you.
Yep.
Puppy dogs.
Follow me on TikTok.
Yes,
Yep.
follow Jimmy.
Follow
Rapidly.
Jimmy. Follow everybody on the talks.
Night, everybody. Thanks for joining
Night.
my ragtag band of bullshitters. This was fun.
No.
Probably
Island of
probably do
bullshit
this
toys.
I need to get back into actually being around when this happens.
Yeah,
maybe
that'd be cool.
I
I've
was
missed
thinking
you guys.
once a month. Maybe we'll do we'll do this open hangout forum thing.
Sure.
Cool. Alrighty.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, good night, everybody. See y'all
Night.
next time.
Good night.
Good
We'll
night.
see ya.